The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Trader's Edge with Steve Rhodes. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. The Trader's Edge. Now, Steve Rhodes.
Good morning, folks. Welcome to the December 1st, the fantastic Friday edition of today's Trader's Edge Show. I'm your host, Stevie Perseverance Rhodes, who absolutely knows that each of us should always be pioneers of our future versus prisoners of our past. Hope everyone out there is having a great day. And let's make sure we have an extraordinary one. Now, the easiest way to do that is to always remember that life is happening for us, not to us. That's right. When you and I can make that one little 2x4 shift, it means we can find the gift in every set of circumstance that life is going to toss at us. Now, today, you and I, we're going to go check on the circumstance of these markets. We'll go figure out what those bulls and bears, what those buyers and sellers are communicating to you and I at just past 11 o'clock in the morning. I want you to know I'm absolutely grateful for your presence here. But even more important than that, and that's this, during this next 53 minutes, I am here to serve you. So feel free to pick up that phone, dial on in at 877-927-6648. Now, if you've got a question but you can't dial in, we've got your back. You can always send me an email. Send that off to Steve at TFNN.com. And inside the subject heading, please put radio show question. Of course, if you're inside our Tigers Den, well, then any and every ping will do. So let's go ahead and get this show started on Fantastic Friday. Of course, this is Tiger Financial News Network. I'm Steve Rhodes. Welcome to the show. Right now, we got a mixed bag out there. You've got the Dow trading up 43 points, a little over 0.1%. The S&P is flat. The Nasdaq's down 49 points, 0.3%. The Russell's up nearly 1% or 17 points. The Semis are up 13 points, nearly 4.4%. Tranny's up 1 6/10%, 251-point move there. We've got a mixed bag. We got gold trading up 13 bucks, silver up 3 pennies, light sweet crude up 8 cents, natural gas up 3 pennies, the 30-year Treasury up 19 ticks, and the U.S. dollar is up at least 15 pennies right now. Trading out at 103.57. If we take a look at what's leading the charge, dollar-wise, the upside, you got Alta Beauty at 44 bucks, nearly 11%. MicroStrategy, 25 bucks, 5%. Elastic NV is very elastic to the upside, a 31% move there at 25 bucks. Saia, the freight company, 17 bucks and change, and Humana's up 16, nearly 17 bucks, a little over 3% move. The shakers to the downside, Genesco Inc. off 7 bucks and change, 20% move. Microsoft down 6, 1 6/10%. Super Micro off about 6. Meta's down 5. CrowdStrike's down 5. It's about a 2% move to the downside. So we got movers and we've got shakers, but I believe we also have a caller. Let me check on this. No, we don't have a caller. That's okay. I'm good, Al. I've got the clock, so we're good. I'm having some technical problems. We do have Brent on the line. It's Brent in Martinez, California. Hey, Brent, thanks for calling. Thanks for holding. How are you?
Good morning, Steve. How are you?
I am doing well. So we're going to talk about two symbols out here, folks. One is Ambarella, AMBA, and the second is Marvell. Okay, if we start with Ambarella?
I'm just actually calling about Marvell. I didn't do anything with Ambarella. I just I looked at their numbers. They kind of missed on their, I believe it was the earnings were kind of a decent miss, so I just figured there was not enough there to try to take a trade in that. Marvell actually beat on both earnings and revenue, but I think they were a little bit, just wavering a little bit as far as going forward their guidance.
Sure,
but I thought there's enough there to make that trade. So you can go through them if you want.
Well, in the case of Ambarella, yesterday we took a look at both of these as we were coming to the close of the show, or at some point in time during the show. And what we took a look at here, we had said that Ambarella had negated its TD9 count top. It had done that on Wednesday of this week. And that was signaling to you and I that price wanted to make a move towards its TD9 count breakdown level, and that was at 60.96. And that's exactly what it has done, folks, and that it is sold off. Now, we don't have an actual top out there. You do have a bearish engulfing candle at the moment, but it hasn't really completed that A to B equals CD pattern pattern. But sometimes just simply a top can be getting back to where price broke down, and that's what we see inside of Amberella. So just a quick follow-up on that. Let's go take a look at Marvell, which I looked at this morning, pulled right back to the bottom of that daily profile. I don't recall. I would think we had identified those levels there, Brent, but let's just make sure. And I believe that's around 51.61. Granted, it did get back below that level. Now, in the case of Marvell, we said that this had formed a TD9 count top. But that TD9 count top had led to tests of that green oscillator and change on that, gave us more of a neutral signal. And so I believe as we signed off yesterday, I said this one's more difficult for me to call. But what we did know is that in this case here, Brent, price moved to the downside right to a support level. Now it's at 51.61, and that has held thus far. Was there any kind of action that you took?
I did. That's why I called, and I don't want to take a lot of time, but it was just such a crazy trade. It made that dip this morning, and I looked. It was really like a 2-minute trade because I bought in it. It gives me on my phone. It gives me Eastern time, so it was 9:35.
Okay.
I bought the $52 calls at 30 cents a piece, and within 2 minutes it was 9:37. I sold. I was almost getting to be 9:38. I sold them. At the time I looked at it, it was 82 cents. I just put in the order, got filled at 88 cents, and I was out.
Oh, that's great.
It was a very, very quick trade.
Okay, well, that's great. And for those folks, I was just looking to see if there was any kind of signals on some kind of short-term time frame chart in case we're still in that trade. I didn't see anything. But for folks that are in Marvell, you got that drop this morning, and prices tested support, which is that 51.61 level. If you were long and price closed below that, then you would prepare for a move down towards 46.33, and that's where price broke out from. So that's what I see when I take a look at Marvell. Brent, is there anything else that I can do for you?
That was it. It was a pretty exciting trade. It went very fast. You have to have very fast fingers. I've been doing it on my phone for so long now, I can't even tell you. It's like been easily 10 years or more. I mean, probably 15 years, honestly.
Well, that's great. Well, look, it's a great strategy.
It's one of those things. Yeah, it happened very fast, and it just, I mean, I've had quick trades, but that's got to be one of the quickest, I think.
Well, keep calling back with those so we can take a look at them, a day or two before, get an assessment for what the charts are communicating to us, and because there's others listening in that would like to follow along with Brent.
All right, well, just have yourself a great day and a great weekend, Stephen. Thanks so much for all your help.
You bet. That was Brent in Martinez, California, and that was Marvell and Amberella. Let's go. Just lunch, we're taking a look at requests out here right now. Let's just continue on with the request line. There were several that came in yesterday towards the end of the session. That's weird. Why did that show up there? And we didn't get to them. And the first one was Walmart. So let's put that up on our screens out here. WMT is a ticker symbol. My apology. I did not write down who made the request and exactly what the request is. So we're just going to give an overview of Walmart. And what we can see right now is Walmart is targeting its swing point, swing low out here from the trading session of October the 6th. Now, the volume on October the 6th was 14 million shares. We've been trading for only about an hour and 45 minutes. So let's say 2 hours, 3 million shares to the downside. Versus here you had 14 million shares. So it is pulling back with lighter volume, but you're inside that swing point, and odds favor is going to test the low. The low out there is at 151.65. The reason why we suggest that that's going to test the low is because right now price is trading below the bottom of its weekly profile. That's a weekly profile that formed last week, and the bottom of which has acted as resistance. So that suggests to me lower price is likely. On a weekly chart here, real quick before we go to that hard break, 151.65 is that key level. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Steve Rhodes started his trading career as a student almost 20 years ago, and the student has now become the master. Steve won the prestigious Timer of the Year award in 2018 and barely missed that mark again in 2019, finishing at number 2 for the year. An amazing accomplishment. Steve Rhodes is committed to sharing his techniques and knowledge with anyone who wants to learn, and he shares his vast amount of trading knowledge every day in his Mastering Probability newsletter. Steve's award-winning newsletter, Mastering Probability, is delivered every trading day with updates throughout the afternoon. Sign up for Steve's market newsletter, Mastering Probability, and you'll receive access to 7 of Steve's educational webinars absolutely free. At TFNN, all our newsletters come with a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have absolutely nothing to worry about. Visit TFNN.com and try Mastering Probability 30 days risk-free today. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
Welcome back, folks. So when you close inside a swing point, you do it with volume and you're headed lower. Odds favor you're going to retest that low out there. We took a look at that in the daily time frame. The weekly chart before we were going off the air right there for the break. That weekly swing point from October 6th had volume of 32 million shares. So far this week, we have 39 million shares. So that says that that low should be tested. Now, if it gets broken through, then we'll come back and take a look at some additional price targets. But that which Walmart is signaling to you and I right now. The next request was to take a look at N phase. That was for SAT-P. SAT, I don't recall. I think you're looking for an entry point into this, so you'd have to be looking for some type of pullback out here. The real entry point inside of N phase, that occurred on the trading day of November 10th. That's when it went ahead and confirmed a Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom out there. Now what you've got is prices trading above profile resistance up at 99.20. It tells you if it's intent to try to get up to the 128.18 level. That's its TD9 count breakdown level. But you are inside. You're going to be heading towards this little gap out here. So that could be a bit of turbulence. On a weekly time frame, prices trading above profile. That's a bullish signal. We're trading above last week's high. That's a bullish signal. On a monthly time frame, I don't really have anything out there. So it's the daily and the weekly that are really providing us with the information. What you'd be looking for is some type of pullback or retracement or pattern on an intraday time period. And really on the 30-minute chart, the only thing that pops out would have been price pulling back to a breakout level of 98.07. I don't see any other kind of pattern out there. So I'd say be patient for N phase. And one of the other options that you could take a look at, if we take a look at the consecutive moves higher and lower out here for N phase, ENPH again is a Turkish symbol, we'll see that this has not even had a 2-bar pullback out there. So that would be probably one of your first clues would be to get a 2 consecutive bar pullback. That would, and if that's all that it turns out to be, that's really your entry point. And that too is a pattern out there. So Sat, I hope that helps you out. Other than telling you to chase it right now, and I'm not really telling you to chase it, wait for something like that. Let's go take a look at Tesla. That was for Nicholas, who wrote in yesterday as well. TSLA is the ticker symbol there. And what is Tesla doing? So in the case of Tesla, it does have an A to B equals CD pattern to the upside. And today's gap to the downside is confirming a sell the D point. Here we'll draw in the A to B. So that would be looking like this right here. And I'll just simply move this over to the C point. That's after that retracement out. Well, I was going to try to move it over. We're still going to try. We're going to make one more attempt at it. There we go. So now you can see this made more than a 1-to-1 A to B equals CD pattern out there. You actually generated a sell the D point pattern in a trading session of November 22nd when it had that bearish engulfing candle. But price still found support at that bottom of that daily profile. Well, we have a gap to the downside. And then it got negated. By the way, that sell the D point pattern was negated on the trading session of November 28th because price closed above the high of the bearish engulfing pattern out there. So now we're looking for another signal. Well, that's the gap to the downside. But I would caution anybody to short Tesla now. Why? Because we've already seen what one top did. And when it got down to test support, which was the bottom of its profile, 234.40, we got a move back up to the top of the profile. So I would go shorting Tesla unless it at least closed below 234.40 out there. You got a consolidation on the weekly, and price is trading above the top of its profile, but below the oscillator and change line on the monthly time frame. So it's kind of bullish to neutral out there. And I would say you just got a consolidation pattern between profiles on the daily. So, Nicholas, I hope that helps you out. I know you also wanted to take a look at Las Vegas Sands. LVS is the ticker symbol out there. So let's try to pull that up. And what do we see with Las Vegas Sands? I don't recall. I didn't write down. I guess maybe your question was, would I go long? I did write that down. And the question is, I'd go long if there was a bottom pattern. Do we have any kind of bottom pattern inside of Las Vegas Sands? Well, on a daily time frame, we do not. We have a topping pattern, and that was a sell the D point. That sell the D point pattern formed on November the 17th. I've not drawn in the A to B equals CD, but you folks can see that out there. So now what do we have? Well, we don't have an A to B equals CD pattern to the downside. We just have price trading below profile, trading below red oscillator and change line. It has not tagged its swing low. That would be from October the 5th out there. I'd say that is more likely a target. You'd like to see price get down into that area. That area ranges from 43.77 to 44.58. And if you can test that area with less than 5.3 million shares, that would be at least a test and rejection of a swing point. Obviously, you'd love to see some kind of sign of strength after that and then buy that first retracement, or you can just simply buy the test and rejection. On a weekly time frame, price is consolidating with inside its profile. It did find support at its bullish structured area, 44.97 to 46.16 out there. Well, Steve-O, and you got a TD9 count bottom. Maybe that was the buy at 44.97. And then I'd have to say to Nicholas, you know what, Nicholas? You could very well be right out there. So if you wanted to take a long trade here, you could. And where you would close that out would have to be a close below the TD9 count bottom. I don't know if the risk reward is really set up for that. That's at the low of 43.77. The reason is because right now, the move to the upside, you'd have to use 47.62 or thereabouts as your price target to the upside. And I just don't think that's going to fly with regard to a good reward risk. But the weekly profile of charts out there, and the fact that it's got a TD9 count and it's testing that at swing points. Let's see. Is that test on lighter volume? That test, we're talking about October 6th. Volume there, 23 million shares. This week so far, we are at 66 million shares. No, this is not done or shouldn't be done. So, yeah, you got those buyers, but price should at least get back to that swing point. Maybe that's the area for you to consider, and that's up at the 46.10 level. So, Nicholas, thanks so much for the request and waiting an extra day for that. The next request coming in from someone I do not know who it is, because there's never a name with it in the email or what have you. It doesn't indicate that as well. But let's take a look at this Chinese ETF out here, XPEV. My apology, I do not recall the question, but we can take a look at XPEV and see what it's actually doing. And right now, price is pulled back and it's tested the top of its daily profile. It was traded above the top of its daily profile. That's really where a counter trend rally should end, at 1570 or about 1585 as we speak right now. I don't know enough about the components of this. I believe most of them are Chinese-oriented components, and you really need to, if you want to trade this, I believe this is an ETF for Chinese electric cars or something along that. I don't know. I apologize, but I think it's an ETF out there. If it's not, it's an individual stock. Then I can see going ahead. You could pull a trigger right now. Not that you have a bottom necessarily, but price did pull back and has tested support. The more ideal place to buy or an entry point would be between 14.16 and 14.97 out there, preferably with volume of, I'd say, less than 13 million shares out there. On a weekly time frame, we have prices trading back inside its profiles out there. Support is at 15.23. The monthly is not really providing us with a ton of information out of that. Ticker symbol XPEV. If it is an ETF, I wouldn't trade it unless you went ahead and looked at at least the top 10 instruments to see how they're trading and get a pretty decent feel on that. Joey D wanted to take a look at FXI. So let's type that in here, see if we get that in here before the break. When we come back from the break, we'll look at FXI, the Microsoft, IAK, SCCO, IWM, RIG, and natural gas out there. While this is loading here, the FXI, that's also another Chinese ETF out here. You are potentially in wave number 7. I'd question whether that's really a wave 7. Well, I'll take that back. We got 3 wave 7s. I don't know if I've seen 3 Gs other than my workout in the morning out there too often. But at this case, in this stage here, FXI is trading below a swing point on a weekly basis. I did 184 million. This has got 150 out here. We'll come back. We'll finish taking a look at FXI, get a feel for where this is headed to for Joey D. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
The Gold Report. As a precious metal, gold is still king. It continues to hold the most effective safe haven and hedging properties across the global major trading hubs of the London OTC market, the U.S. futures market, and the Shanghai Gold Exchange. The Gold Report. Tom O'Brien publishes his weekly gold report every Monday morning for subscribers, consisting of coverage of the XAU, HUI, GDX, the dollar, bonds, the South African rand, as well as 25 different mining equities with specific buy-sell recommendations. The Gold Report. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee so you have nothing to risk. Subscribe to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report newsletter now at TFNN.com.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN has just launched their new trading room, the Tiger's Den. Hosted at Discord, TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. And now they are expanding their reach with the Tiger's Den, available to all Tigers and Tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. In the Tiger's Den, you can look over the shoulders of Tom O'Brien and the other TFNN hosts while they analyze charts during their live Tiger TV programs, and join an interactive trading community with hundreds of members exchanging ideas. Interact with other Tigers and Tigresses as they share trading ideas, news analysis, and discuss the market action all trading day, even at night and on the weekends. The Tiger's Den at Discord is accessible on mobile or tablets as well, so it's always at your reach. To sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders, just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Don't forget, you can listen to TFNN live on your mobile device 24 hours per day. Go to TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV. That's TFNN.com, then hit Watch Tiger TV.
Welcome back, folks. We're taking a look at that ticker symbol FXI. It's a Chinese ETF out there. Again, this is another one where if you're going to trade this, you really should get access to the top, at least the top 10 instruments that are inside of this. Again, I don't have access to the Chinese exchange out there, the Shanghai, which is likely where this thing is traded on. But do the homework on that. But if you're asking me just simply technically speaking, is it near a buy point? It could be. You've got wave number 7. As I mentioned, there's 3 of them. We take a look at the daily time frame chart. That needs a higher low to confirm that pattern out there. So you have to at least wait until you get that higher low. You could continue this wave 7, letter G, extension to the downside out there. And that's a good possibility. We take a look at that weekly chart having taken out its prior lows. You're trading below, though, the monthly bottom of its profile out there. So FXI is really not looking that good out here. On a 30-minute basis, if we take a quick peek at the 30-minute chart, we can see a Rhodes Momentum Indicator bottom that is attempting to form out here. Now, that should take price up to that oscillator and change on at 24.77. I don't have anything else above that to give guidance on other than inside of that gap. So I hope that helps you out, Joey D, and thanks so much for the request. Lars writes in, wants to take a look at Microsoft. Well, we know Nancy, if she's in the Tiger's Den, she'd like to probably take a look at Microsoft as well. So what we know about Microsoft, it formed both a TD9 count and Rhodes Momentum Indicator top. We took a look at that yesterday. And now what we know is that price is trading back inside its profile. Lars, if price closes below 374.75, it's going to open up the door for Microsoft to pull back to test support. In its case, it's around 365.16, 367 even Steven, and 366.76. That is your support zone. A close below 365.16 will get us down to the 360.61 to 353.50 level. Now, we want to see how this really trades today, and the reason is because this could, on a weekly basis, generate a Rhodes Momentum Indicator topping pattern. In order to do that, it's got to generate a bearish reversal candle out there. Well, if it just simply spikes down today below 371 and closes one tick in the opposite direction of the trend to the downside, what we would have here is a key reversal bar. We don't have that as we speak right now, but it is something to watch during the day because the downside price target for Microsoft is 367, 365, 366 out there. This is going to be just really, looks like maybe the second consecutive day to the downside out there. Really not much more for me to report on for you with regard to Microsoft. So, Lars, thank you so much for the request, and have a fabulous Friday, a fantastic weekend. We had a request, I apologize, I don't remember who it was, but it was for IAK out here. When we have IAK did have a TD9 count top, and that was negated yesterday. His price closed above the high. It was a wave 7 top as well, and that was the high from November 24th up at 99.53. So there's no top in place right now for IAK. What we do have is a consolidation with inside its daily profile, and that ranges from 97.74 at the bottom at support up to 99.53. That is resistance. So you don't have a top any longer on the daily. On the weekly chart, you do not have a top, and on the monthly chart, you do not have a top. So if we take a look at this weekly time frame chart here for IAK, let's open this up. What do we have? You certainly have an A to B equals CD pattern to the upside. Was the B point passed with volume? Let's find out. The B point I would use September 22nd. There was 145. Wow, this is a thinly traded stock. 145,000 shares. When it was passed with 141,000 shares. And last week, this had 101,000 shares. So it's light by just a little. We're going to call it still a confirmed A to B equals CD to the upside. Now, if we draw in where this could be headed to over time, this is a weekly chart that we're taking a look at. There's our A to B point. We're just simply going to move this over into that C point level. Well, I can't completely move it over until I move some things around. They're going to do a little scrunching. That's that technical term out there that some of us technical traders have to learn how to do. And so on the scrunching basis out there, the A to B would get us up into the 104 area. So that's what we see as soon as this consolidation pattern with inside its daily set of profiles completes. Come on, close it up for us. And that's again between 97.74 and 99.53. You close them up 99.53, and that move along that C to D leg for the weekly chart should continue. So hope that helps you out. Somebody also was just trying, so many requests, multitasking, and Stevie wasn't doing a very good job of it. And that's because I don't know who requested SCCO, Southern Copper out there, having one heck of a day. Of course, copper is also having one heck of a day. Here in the case of Southern Copper, formed a nice Rhodes momentum indicator bottom. It did that with that bullish piercing candle back on November 10th. And then price pulled back, and it looks like it tested that swing point. The high of that swing point was at 70.73, and the volume was 795,000 shares. It was tested with 1.4 million shares. How about that? It was tested, and so far price has not gotten back down there. Well, right now what price is doing, it's taking on a swing point high. Could that be an A to B equals C to the upside? I think not. I think that retracement on SCCO, and I'll take, SCCO. Learn how to type, Stevie. I did it twice. I guess the third time is the charm. There we go. I just want to check on my other screen out here and just make sure that my eyes aren't lying to me. But it looks to me like that is more than a 0.786% retracement out there. It was 79%. Look, if it is a 1-to-1, the price target is 78.91. And in 78.91, so on a daily basis, that swing, again, from the trading session of November 21st, 1.5 million shares. And so far today, SCCO has done 507. So it's moving into it with similar type volume. If it can close above that high from November 21st at 77.21, should be able to make a run up to the 78.91 level. Should be is what Stevie says. What we also can see here as I take a look at my other screen, and I'll go ahead and change over to that here momentarily, and I mean a moment, because we still have a number of requests, but we'll take a look at those black background charts, and what you'll see out there are descending trend lines. So even though everything looks good here inside of Southern Copper, it still has to deal with that trend line out there. Real quickly, I will throw up the copper chart. Let's take a look at Dr. Copper. We know that these two are directionally correlated out there. Here's the copper charts for copper, and on a daily basis, you are in wave number 7. So that needs a lower high to confirm that pattern. Short of that, price should go target the $3.9565. That's its TD9 count breakdown level. So I'd watch copper along with SCCO. I don't know that copper is running into that same trend line resistance level. The next request was to take a look at rigatoni, and that was for Greg. RIG is the ticker symbol. Let's get back to that set of tools and charts out there. I don't know if I've been through everything. Have I been through everything? I have. So let's just type up RIG here and see how long it takes to populate these charts. Greg is looking for an entry point, and Joe is looking for where to bail out of UNG inside of natural gas. Those are the two questions. Wait. And Hector wants to take a look at the IWM. He thinks it's going to the moon. So we're going to try to answer all those questions. With regard to RIG out there, looking for an entry? Well, today would have been a good entry point. Price pulled back, tested and rejected a swing point. It did that yesterday. That swing point had volume of 10 million shares. Yesterday, the test was on 23 million shares. Wow, that was big volume. Today, it looks like you've gotten down there. Today's volume so far is 4.7. That swing only had volume of 10 million shares. You're still in with light volume. Here's what I would say on RIG. RIG's counter trend move would take us up to $6.68. It's got to close above $6.68 to prove to you and I that this is a bottom out here on the daily time frame. Steve Rhodes with TFNN. We'll be right back.
Currencies, commodities, and bond markets are as important as ever right now with how they're driving the volatility in equity markets across the globe, which is why it's a great time to try out Teddy Kegstad's Tiger Forex Report. Teddy Kegstad breaks down the Forex markets every Monday using his 30-plus years of experience as a trading veteran of futures, Forex, stocks, and options. Teddy releases his weekly Tiger Forex Report every Monday morning with coverage of all the major currency pairs, including the dollar index, the euro dollar, pound dollar, dollar Swiss, dollar yen, as well as many more, and he also has weekly coverage of the crude oil market and the 30-year T-bonds, as they both influence Forex markets tremendously. When you sign up for the Tiger Forex Report, you also gain instant access to Teddy's 60-minute webinar archive he just hosted, Forex Strategies and Fundamentals, What is Behind the Tiger Forex Report. For all the details and to start your 30-day Tiger Forex Report subscription today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Are China A-shares hot or not? If you trade China A-shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A-share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A-shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
Welcome back, folks. We're taking a look at the ticker symbol RIG. This is for Greg, who's looking for an entry point. You know, Greg, I don't have the warm fuzzies about this when we took a look at that daily and the weekly time frame chart out there. But here's what I can share with you right now. This is going to complete in another. Oh, we've got time. I thought I was running behind the time. I thought I only had 2 minutes out here. Oh, that's perfect. So now I can spend a little bit of time here. Don't have to rush out here. If we take a look at RIG, it's going to complete a TD9 count top at 12 noon. So another 18 minutes from now out there. That says if price is going to go target that daily counter trend move area, and we'll come back to take a look at that, you need to see this TD9 count top fail out here. I'm just talking about today as far as what its activity is. Otherwise, we should see price pull back towards the 640 level. That shouldn't really begin until about 12 noon. It could begin right now because the TD9 count is actually a completed pattern out there. But if it does close above the high, whatever the high takes place here in this next during this 30-minute session. Right now, the high, by the way, for RIG that we're looking at is 656, but it could spike above that between now and 12 noon. If it does take that out, close above it on a 30-minute basis, then you're looking to move to 668 out there. That's where a counter trend move would typically end. That's the center of its bullish structured daily profile out there. At 666, you've also got the center of its bullish structured weekly profile. Now, that's a profile that just formed last week. And the price were to close above 660, we still got to see it close above 668, and that's 669. But if it does close above that, then that would be telling us price wants to make a move to 713. So I've given you kind of the trading piece of it. From an investing side, I'm not seeing it. But that doesn't mean it doesn't exist out there. But that's what I see, Greg, when I take a look at RIG. Let's go take a look at the IWM for Hector and Patty. And his question is the IWM getting ready to take off to the moon? And the answer to that question is, well, you've got an A to B equals CD pattern. On the IWM, it is negated, or it's in the process of negating the sell the D point pattern. So for the IWM, that came in at this bearish shooting star on November 15th, and a close today above 181.76 negates that signal. What I would then say, Patty and Hector, is that price would then go target 185.07. And that's the next TD9 count breakdown resistance level for the IWM. If we take a look at the IWM on a weekly basis, we're trading above most recent highs out there. That's signaling to you and I, it wants to make a move towards 195.06. 195.06 is the TD9 count breakdown resistance level out there. From an A to B equals C standpoint out here, we're out taking out a swing point that can't really use it necessarily as well. I guess I could use it. I could use it. So the swing, let's just take a look at what's going on here volume-wise. So I'm looking at the week of November 17th. 254 million shares versus this week we're at 142. So you're passing that with lighter volume. What that says to Stevie, 185.07 is going to be a real key resistance level, Hector and Patty. And then when I take a look at the monthly time frame chart, it's at 184.02. That's your resistance zone with regard to the IWM. Is it going to take off to the moon? It could. But what I'm really sharing with you right now are the next battlegrounds. Those are the things that we have to observe in our laboratory to understand. It's really helpful to understand where buyers and sellers are, don't you think? I mean, that should be one of the reasons that people put in requests, send in requests out there, because you and I, it's all completely objective. There's no subjectivity that's coming into the numbers that I'm giving you. This is clearly where buyers and sellers reside. It doesn't tell us who's going to win the battles out there, but knowing where the battles are going to take place, just imagine driving down the road and knowing where every bit of traffic is. Oh, I guess we do that through Waze or something along those lines. Well, Stevie is your Waze version of the stock market and where the congestion areas are, where buyers and sellers reside out here. But it does look like the IWM wants to trade higher. Again, IWM's next target is 185.07. We really should go take a look at. I don't know if you're hearing that noise, folks, but I'm getting the house power washed and sounded like a jet coming through the window out here. But let's go take a look at the Russell 2000. And here, when we take a look at its price target, the monthly wants to get up to 1880. So that's its price target. The weekly, much like the IWM, is trading above its recent swing point high out here. It says it wants to go target 1995.90. The daily time frame tells us that price wants to get up to this 1892.70 level. That's a TD9 count breakdown area when we take a look at the Russell 2000 equity future contract. Now, all that stuff could happen intra-session, in the overnight session in the morning before the U.S. stock market opens up. And so you want to understand these levels out there if you're trading the Russell 2000, what's going on inside the futures contract, where does it have buyers and sellers lined up. But it does look very positive out here for the Russell. I'm not seeing any kind of topping signals for any kind of time frames for it, so it should continue to rally, I'd say, throughout the day out there. So hope that helps you out. Joe had asked about natural gas and where to bail. So let's do a couple of things here. One, I think I've got let me close this out, free up some resources out here. Let me get that closed. Let's go take a look at natural gas. So there's the currency pairs. We haven't taken a look at those just yet, but we'll leave that out for a possibility. Let me close this out here as well. And let's get to the natural gas charts. So on natural gas, what we do have is a TD9 count bottom, and that formed a couple of days ago. Actually completed yesterday. Take that back. It completed yesterday. So the question that was provided to me was where to bail out of the UNG. And therein lies part of the problem. Why? Because the level that I'm going to give you could take place in a time period where you really can't trade UNG. So you've got a TD9 count bottom. You have a new profile. And so that says that any close below yesterday's low, that pattern would get negated, the TD9 count, and you would definitely not want to be long the Russell 2000, the natural gas, the UNG. I take it back. It was the low from 2 days ago, November 29th low. A close below 276. That would certainly tell you to bail in a long position inside of the UNG. Now, what price should do here is price should make a move to that oscillator and change line. And that's really close to the top of its new profile out there. And that's up at the 292 level. That's what you're seeing on my white background screen. On my black background screen, it's it's at 289. So the level where, and that's probably about where that oscillator and change line is right now. So that would really be the bailing point. That's if you were trading the natural gas contract, but you're not doing that, and that makes it a bit more complicated out here. Another thing to be watching inside of natural gas most certainly would be that oscillator and change line. It's red. That's where any counter trend moves would likely run into resistance. We can see that that has happened along the way down. We also know with regard to natural gas, let's make sure that we do this fully here. It is nice that we're into December, or sort of nice that we're into December. But let's take a look at the natural gas charts out here. This is the seasonal cycle. And how does a seasonal cycle, what does that tell you and I out here? And Joe, what that's going to tell us, I can already tell you what that's going to tell us, but let's go ahead and get that data out here. Let's get 32 years worth of data. And that's telling us that natural gas could or should form a bottom around December 7th. Well, it's December the 1st out here, so that TD9 count might hold pretty well. And then that usually lasts around, unseasonally speaking, the bottom comes in around December 7th, and then you get a rally for about 6 days out there. On December 13th, that's when natural gas decides to typically turn lower out here. Natural gas, for the most part, turns lower down into February. February when, Steve-O? Well, February 19th, anywhere between, I'd say, the range of February 12th to February 19th. Now, we use that as a range, as a guideline. We're not saying that's when natural gas is going to bottom. But just look at this chart here, Joe. Take a look at November and December. What are the two worst performing months for natural gas? November and December. I'd be very cautious and careful in natural gas. Let's come back to this in February. That might be the buy. We'll be right back.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
The reality is that navigating financial markets can be risky. Markets can be chaotic and difficult to understand. Having the latest market advice can help you turn this chaos into a key for creating winning trades. At TFNN, we understand that it can be hard to find reliable market news. That's why each of our market experts offers their very own market newsletter. A must-have tool for every trader out there striving to find an edge in today's markets. TFNN newsletters cover every aspect of the markets so you can analyze the market before you trade. Try any of our great newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Just visit the Newsletters tab on the front page of TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Welcome back, folks. So you've got the ES Mini right now. It's taking on its Rhodes Momentum Indicator top up at 45.97. You close above that, and we're headed higher. Jimmy's asking the question. This is the last gasp up. Jimmy, take a look at this chart here. This is a seasonal pattern for the Dow, and this is like the beginning. If price follows along this analog out here, this is the beginning of the move higher for the next week out here. And then you can see we have a little bit of a pullback starting towards the beginning of the following week, right around December the 9th, a pullback for about a week or so, and then it continues to move higher. So seasonally speaking, it's saying that this market is not done out there. In fact, with regard to the NQ, if we take a look at it, what have we had? We just had our second 2-day pullback since those lows in October out there. So not surprising that actually the market, this is suggesting to you and I that no, this is not a last gasp. The 2-day pullback is kind of normal inside of a bull market out there. I wasn't showing those natural gas charts. My apology for that. So let me put those back. I was showing one natural gas chart, not the entire range that we had out here. It's those white background charts. So my apology for that. Here on natural gas on that daily time frame, that was the important stock chart. And you can see that red oscillator and change line, how that is a very key level of resistance. That price must at least close above to suggest that there's some kind of bottom out there. But my suggestion is let's come back to natural gas in an earnest way sometime next year. January, end of January, February kind of a time frame out there. So let me quickly go back and take a look at that day trading set of charts out there, the intraday charts here for the NQ, the week indice, and see what they're signaling to you and I, if anything out here. And 240-minute chart. By the way, yesterday, the 240-minute chart, the 120-minute chart formed Gartley buy patterns. Right now, the 120-minute chart is confirming a Rhodes Momentum Indicator top. The key level out here, I think the 120-minute chart has been doing a great job of calling the market for the NQ, 16,025.75. Write that number down on your pad of paper. You see it close above that in the NQ today, and then know the market or the NQ should continue to rally. As far as its price target up there, easily could be 16,102. Folks, stay tuned for all the great programming. Thanks for joining me this week. Have a fabulous Friday, a fantastic weekend. Be safe out there, and I'll see you back on Marvelous Monday. Take care.